Welcome to the MS Gym podcast, where we give you the tools to live life by design, not by diagnosis. I'm your host, Brooke Slick, and here we go. Hi, everyone. We're here today with Binty from right outside of London, a little place called Purley. Binty is coming to us today to share some of her MS Gym victory stories. She was brought to my attention by Ken Allen, Trevor's right-hand man in the MS Gym, and brought to my attention some of the amazing things that she's had happen to her recently as a result of working with the movement methods within the gym. So, Binty, hello, and thank you so much for coming on today.
You're welcome.
I want to get a little bit of history from you. Can you tell me what type of MS you have?
I have primary progressive MS.
Okay.
And I was diagnosed in 2017, but I knew something was wrong for about 10 years.
And what was happening to you during those 10 years that made you think, okay, something's not right here?
My main symptoms are my right leg. Right leg, after walking, I was a great walker. I could walk for hours and hours. After walking a bit, one day I just collapsed on the street and couldn't get up. And then went to the I thought, oh, this is odd. I thought maybe it's hot or something. But then it happened more. I was tripping up and things like that. So I went to my doctors. We did tests and things, and they were then fobbing me off for years that it was osteoporosis of the knees. And I knew it's not right. Because my mum has osteoporosis and has it for 40, 50 years, and she walks better than me, and she's 80 plus.
Okay. So then what eventually led you to be like, okay, enough of this. I know it's got to be something more than that. What did you do?
Well, I kept going back and forth to the doctors and getting things. I even went private to try and figure something out. And they did investigations of my knees and things. And the man was saying, yeah, you've got changes in your knee, but they're in line with your age. I wouldn't operate at this point. So nothing was conclusive. And at no point did anybody pick up it was neurological. It was only back late 2016, I asked for a physio appointment after some tests saying that I then had osteopenia of the hips and osteoporosis of the knee. I asked for some physio help just to find what exercises I should be doing so that I wouldn't harm one or the other condition. And I walked in and the physio said, I'm sending you for an MRI. And I said, why? She said, I think your symptoms are not musculoskeletal. And she was right. At that time, I didn't know she was actually a neurophysio. She actually thought she knew what was wrong with me because of the way I was walking with my foot dragging. Mm-hmm. And I was telling everybody my foot was dragging, my leg was heavy. So I'm not quite sure why it wasn't picked up.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Unfortunately, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
And years are wasted trying to figure out what's going on as the disease progresses. But so then what you found out that you have MS. What did they prescribe for you, or what was your next step?
Well, they
first of all, were you relieved to a certain degree? Was part of you relieved because you had a name for what it was after all these years?
I must say I wasn't relieved because I was hoping that it was something operable. Because
fair enough.
Yeah, because I'm a pharmacist, I knew that, especially the type of MS, they were saying that there isn't any drugs for me. So it's basically go away and sort yourself out. But there's nothing that we can do for you, really. We can help you with the symptoms. And that's when I started looking at diets and things like that, looking at the internet. And I came across a US blogger who mentioned the MS Gym, Trevor and the MS Gym. And at that time, I then went on to look at what this was all about. downloaded, I think, the spasticity guide, found it was so helpful.
Yes, I did the same thing.
Yeah, so and then within a month, I then had to find out, how do I actually join a gym that's in America and can get paid for it on my credit card without my credit card getting blocked?
Right.
But
so that's the private group.
Yeah.
You're speaking of.
Yeah. So I just went ahead, just bit the bullet. I must say, I wasn't a great fan of Facebook. I'd actually come off it a while back. When I got divorced, I just didn't like comparing myself to other people. So I was very hesitant to go onto the free group. So I'm a bit unusual, I guess.
Right.
And but I think the emails were that you will be missing out. You should really join. And oh boy, am I so glad I joined, because it's such a fabulous support group. And you have a problem, you have whatever, you get so much feedback. It's fantastic.
Now, do you use any kind of assistive device at all?
I don't. Not in the house. I don't. I walk unaided. Okay. More and more recently, I've been using a cane outside the home, although I am trying to convert to using more trekking poles so I keep BGB. But yes. I find it difficult because I often have to carry an extra bag other than my handbag.
Right.
But as I practice, more and more, I'll be able to maintain BGB even with the cane. But let's see. Oh, and I think in June, I'm supposed to get a carbon AFO, is that what it's called? Carbon fiber AFO fitted, apparently. Because my foot got quite bad.
Okay. I'm not sure what that is. So it's something that will go in your shoe?
It will go in my shoe, yeah.
Okay, got it. I know for years, used one trekking pole. My brother gave me a set of trekking poles as a gift. And I've used one for forever until I found the MS gym. And Trevor was like, no. 2. Well, I'm telling you, I got the other one out of the closet, started walking around with it in the yard, where if you have foot drop, it's hard to walk in the yard, the grass, because even though it looks smooth on the top, underneath, the ground is not really smooth.
Yeah.
Well, I am telling you, I was like fire, like trekking all over the yard. My husband's like, what? So the 2 trekking pole trick is fantastic. Like I can move, and you just feel so much safer. But you're right; it's hard when you have to carry things.
Yeah,
I get that totally. So, which symptom that you deal with do you think affects your life the most? What gets in the way of you doing what you would like to get done?
It's the spasticity in my right leg, and it's in my hamstring mainly, which then had a tear, which has been fixed, but it's obviously a problem area. And all the muscles in my right leg are basically very weak now. We're trying to build them up. So that they were so weak that apparently it was dangerous for me to walk because they couldn't actually support my weight.
So essentially, you had foot drop on that right side.
Yeah, but it's really bad foot drop. Yeah, and it was a lot to do with the hamstring tear as well as obviously MS. Didn't help it. It was just made much worse.
Okay. What of the programs that you've used within the MS gym, what do you think helps you the most, or what do you find yourself returning to again and again, maybe?
Well, I started when the basic BGB program wasn't there. So I started with movement count 1, then progressed to 2, then I had my tear. I couldn't do anything. So I went back to BGB and standing strong. And those 2 programs, they are fantastic because they have built my strength up so much for my upper body, because not being able to do a lot, you lose, as Trevor says, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes.
And I really, literally, I just couldn't do virtually a real problem. And I've noticed since then that my upper body at least is back to being strong. I've got rid of my bingo wings, which for us ladies in the summer is fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm able, because my boys would hug me, and I'm petite. My boys tower over me, and and then they know to hug me gentle, but
right,
I would,
because you can lose your balance, right?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
I don't anymore, which is like, oh wow. Yeah, and I feel much stronger, and yeah, no, those are the two programs that have really helped.
Wonderful. Now, I know the reason that you were originally brought to my attention was due to some very specific victories, MS Gym victories that you had that resonated with me, and I think will resonate with others because they'll get it. The little things that everybody else takes for granted, we so wish to have that nobody else even thinks about. So can you tell us if you remember that particular post that you made about the victories that you had experienced?
I do. The first one was I was in the bath. I often have an Epsom salt bath just to calm down the spasticity in my leg. And I, without thinking, just got up and swung my legs out the bath. And I thought, hey, that hasn't happened for years.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was my healing leg went first over the bath. And I thought, okay, this is fabulous.
Yeah, like I did it.
Yeah, I did it. This is a one-off. But then I've done it several times since, so it's fantastic. So, it's not, oh, I don't have to use my, I have those handles that, you can lift yourself out. Yeah.
Yes.
Have to do that. And then more and more, I then noticed that my kids like dinner late. I don't like dinner late. And they wanted it later and later, and I was struggling just to heat it up or to cook it. And then more and more, I'm able to actually sit there and stand there and cook it and not be bothered too much. The clearing up is a bit of a problem, but then I tell them it's their turn. So yeah, so it worked out well. So it's being able to do things like cooking. I mean, I do a lot of batch cooking, so sometimes it is just heating up and we're just making the rice or whatever is being cooked. But sometimes I cook from scratch, meals that don't take long, but still good half an hour.
Yeah, of standing.
Yeah, of standing. So yeah, so that was the thing. And then more and more, I'm noticing my foot drops getting a lot better as well.
That's awesome.
But I do find if you forget to do your foot drop, that if you haven't done it for a while, it does come back.
Right.
Like keeping on top of it.
Repetition is key.
Yeah, it's just like, no, it's not just because you think it's okay that you can miss it for a few weeks. It doesn't work that way. You do have to keep on it.
It's so true. It's like you can't do it a few times and then it's fixed and then you can go on your merry way. It's really a commitment. It's, like you have to be mindful about it all the time. So now I believe you said your boys were 15 and 18.
That's right. Oh, actually, the younger one is 16. I forgot. He turned 16 in May. So
16 and 18.
16 and 18.
When you found, so this would have only been a couple of years ago that you were diagnosed. What was their response? How did you tell them? And
I sat them down. They obviously knew that my walking had got worse because I love traveling and have taken them all over the place. But we were curtailing our travels to mainly pool and sea resorts so that I didn't have to do a lot of walking. So they knew something was up. So I sat them down and told them what it was. And I was really worried about it. But their only question was, Mama, are you going to die?
Oh.
I said, no, I'm not. I will die eventually of old age, but not from this.
Right.
So that's fine. We'll cope with what comes. And I said, oh, okay, good. Yeah. And then it was like, when I told them, it was such a relief.
And I'm sure they were relieved too when you said, I'm not going to die from this.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, is that it?
Wow.
I mean, all sorts,
So are they a help to you?
Like they are. When obviously they have their own lives.
Yes.
When they're teenagers. Yeah, yeah. And, you tell them to take out the trash. You have to tell them several times.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're from London or the US. Teenagers are the same everywhere.
And to be fair to them, they've got to get on with their lives. I don't want it impinging so much on their lives that they can't do what they want to do.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So tell me this. I think you told me that you don't take any MS drugs. That's correct?
I take baclofen for spasticity.
That's right, baclofen. Okay. Wonderful.
Oh, and occasionally, because of the hamstring, I did take pregabalin for the nerve pain. Okay.
Is that the same as gabapentin in the US?
It's similar.
Okay.
Pregabalin and gabapentin are two nerve pains that they use, but they're two different.
Okay. And you mentioned that you use CBD oil from time to time.
Yes. So okay. No, I've started regularly I initially started taking the evening, the tincture under your tongue, because you can get by that in the UK. We only get low dose ones, and not with the TBC component. I think it's called TBC, the one that gives you high, not with THC. We can't get that. We can on prescription, but they're not very willing to prescribe that. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, no, I found it really useful. I was having problems sleeping, not for the MS. I think that was more menopausal,
right?
Sort of thing, and it's really helped. And the spasticity, awesome. And only recently I've started taking it. It's a smaller dose in the morning. See if that helps.
Since the MS Gym is so much about mindset, that's. Yeah. There's so much concentration on mindset, which I personally think is key to everything. Can you tell us how let's say you wake up with what I call an MSE day. What do you do to snap out of it, to keep moving despite your MSE day?
If I'm having a really bad day, I will give myself permission to have the day off, because I am very religious about my exercises, especially at the moment. I do my physio's exercise as well as the MS Gym plus the companion. So it does get a bit much sometimes. So I just say, right, okay, and have the day, but only a day off. But that's very, very rare. On the whole, what I tend to do is, get up. My routine is get up, have breakfast, and I hit the play button, because I was like, I'll do 10 minutes. If that's all I can cope with, at least I've done 10 minutes. And normally I've done the session and it's over. If it's really bad, on our post, some people send inspirational quotes and things.
Yes.
I've taken pictures of them on my phone, and I have an album called Inspirational.
Oh,
so
nice.
I go through some of the quotes sometimes to see that. I have saved the mindset videos of Trevor's as well, because I'm not very good at technology and finding old things that he's posted. I'm not very strong at that, so I just go through my saved list.
Right.
And, so I have few options, but generally I haven't used Trevor's videos yet, but I do have them saved if I need to.
Oh yeah, they're some of them are very powerful, and it always seems that they come up just when you need it. Like and sometimes just the title alone, I'll think, I'm going to click on this thing. And by the time he's done, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be honest, when I joined the MS Gym, I never expected to get mindset help and things like that. And I think they're so useful and so poignant, because he has been through so much himself that he can relate.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So Binty, what does a typical day look like to you?
Okay. That's a difficult one, because I have various things per day lined up for the week. So for instance, a typical day is I always get up by breakfast. I then do my physio exercises, trying to strengthen my right leg. The muscles are completely gone after my hamstring tear. And then I do the MS Gym, I then, if it's a Monday, go for an art lesson. Tuesday, I tend to do housework or paperwork after the MS gym and things. Wednesday, I go bridge. Thursday, I have a clinical Pilates lady coming. Friday, I go for bridge. Saturday and Sunday generally tend to be at home.
So you're very active.
I try to be. I'm less active than I was because I used to go food shopping and things. I now get deliveries in, but I'm hoping slowly to get back to be able to walk around the grocery stores and things like that.
Right.
I try to keep as active as I can, both the mind and the body.
I think a lot of people think that you have to be able to do jumping jacks and somersaults to be able to, or run a marathon or something, to be able to stay active and engaged in life. And it's absolutely not true. There's so many other things that you can do.
Yes, yeah, but I on purpose sought out the art I've done for years. Bridge I've recently learned since my diagnosis, because I was preparing, if things go downhill, things that I can do sitting down. I did a course on quilting.
That's neat.
What am I interested? What would I want to do in the future if I am more at home? I've recently joined a book club. I love reading.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I like being social. So I find it very isolating, especially since I'm divorced. The kids are teenagers. I do look after my elderly parents, but, so I find I want company.
Right.
I try, for me, that's important for my mindset. It's, if I'm being social and not saying no to things, I know I'm okay.
Right. So do you find that every once in a while you find yourself, you want to say no, but you go ahead and do it anyway, and then you're glad you did?
Yes, a lot of the time. I forgot to say, you asked me one thing, I forgot to say, I have breakfast. I do a 5-10 minute mindfulness every morning before I hit the play button.
Like a meditation?
Meditation, yeah.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah, I've got to say that, which I find really important.
I think it's seriously, it's changed my life. It really has.
Yeah.
I never thought it would be something that I would embrace because my mind is always going a million miles a minute all the time. And it really, really has made a huge change in my life.
Yeah, but that's the type of person that it affects the most, because your mind shouldn't be racing all the time.
Slow down, Brooke.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have any tips or tricks that you use on the daily to help you live a better life with MS?
I have. Never say never. Never say no to things that friends suggest to you. They know you've got MS. So, for example, you don't want to go out for that dinner or whatever. They know you've got an MS, and they will help you. I always prioritize the jobs I have to do, so that if I'm not up to doing the 10 I've got listed, I do the top 2 or the top 1 sort of thing. This doesn't have to be per day. It can be for, the next few weeks sort of thing.
And not feel guilty about it.
Not feel guilty about it. And don't feel guilty about saying, not today. I can't do what you're asking me to do today. I'll do it when I can.
Right.
I think
I agree with that. And I think that's a big thing for people. They just want to stay in the house. And excuse me, I get it. You're tired and you want to reserve your energy. But same as you, so many times I'll be like, no, I'll just, and then I do it anyway. And then I always think, why did I even question it?
Yeah.
Yes, we have to do things a little differently than everybody else, or we're a little slower. I'm always afraid I'm going to slow my friends down. Oh, do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to go? And I'm thinking, I'm so going to slow them down, because they want they don't want to, race ahead of me. They want to walk with me. Well, they're going to be walking very slowly. But
you can
really,
chat more.
Yes. I mean, most of that is in my mind. Just like you said, they know you have MS. They're going to accommodate you. They don't mind helping you, carrying your tray or your bag or whatever. They don't care. That's all, part of that is all us. So something we need to get over. So that's a great suggestion. Binty, we are going to wrap things up here. I cannot thank you enough for sharing your victories with us. And it sounds like, overall, you're a very positive person and, look at things a little more positively than.
Well, you have to try for yourself and your kids and your family.
Yeah, I agree with that. So any parting words?
No, just press play. Don't worry about where it's going to take you and where the victories come. They will come.
That's awesome. Binty, thank you so, so much for joining us.
No worries.
You take care.
Thank you.
For more information on the MS Gym, check them out at themsgym.com, on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. If you'd like to know what I've been up to lately, you can find me at brookslick.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode of the MS Gym Podcast.